Welcome back. My name is Sifu John Constantine. I'm the Chief Instructor and founder of AMA Wing Chun Kung Fu. So what I want to do in this short video today is take you through the basics on how to throw chain punches effectively along the center line. Stay tuned. Okay, so chain punches is a concept that defines Wing Chun as a multiple strike based style. The technique is generally thrown in the basic stance or biu ma and is designed to control the space and the distance to an opponent and is only or always thrown at close range. Okay, so what I want to do is remind you of some of the basic principles and concepts of the centerline punch to make sure that you're technically and structurally correct before you start throwing multiple punches along the center line. So as always, what I want you to do is make sure that you're throwing the techniques from a good basic stance. And one of the ways you achieve that is by standing with the feet together, your arms are relaxed by your sides, and then you open the stance, you're turning the heels out, flicking the heels out, and just bending the knees, lowering your center of gravity. Most importantly, you're tucking the tailbone under, which is generally going to strengthen your core and your lower back, and it's going to create a nice stretch in the hip flexors and the front of the leg, which is useful or it's beneficial if you're someone that works in a job where you're sitting down for quite a long time. So just make sure that you're structurally and technically correct in the basic stance. The lower section of your body is locked in with the tailbone under. You pull your navel to your spine and you've got your hands up, which they're back, and then you're going to place your hands forward in a strong centerline guard, covering the basic principles, which is basically making sure that the thumb is bent, the small finger is held tight to the other three fingers, and that this elbow is about a fist and a half away from the center line, and then your rear guard, your wu sao, is right near your elbow, and this is 1 fist distance from the body. Both hands will be protecting the head of the throat. You've got your hand, your rear guard protecting the throat, and you've got your front hand with the fingertips at eye level to mark out, but most importantly to protect the center line. So make sure those basics are correct, and then I'm just going to go on to the shape and the structure of the punch before we go into the self-training exercise. Okay, so if you've been practicing your Wing Chun through previous videos, or you're a student training in the organization and you're just using these videos to support your training, you will know that the centerline punch is generally thrown along the center line, and it's thrown with a vertical fist as opposed to a horizontal fist. What I want you to make sure of is that the fist is held in a vertical position and it's pretty much directly aligned on the center line, and the target is generally your eyes and the bridge of the nose. So you want to make sure that the middle knuckle and the bottom 2 knuckles are aligned along the center line. So that's your fist, and you're using a vertical fist at this stage in your training. Then what I want you to do is I want you to make sure that the elbow is pulled in tight to the body and is pointing down to the floor, and the easiest way to check this is just to make sure that the inside of your forearm is facing up to the ceiling. So when it comes to punching, you do not want to have your elbow out like so, because that would cause the elbow to buckle. So make sure the elbow is tucked in close to the body, it's pointing down to the floor, and the inside of the forearm is facing up to the ceiling. Then your shoulders, you want to make sure that your shoulders are held back like so. And when you start throwing these techniques, you do not start turning and bouncing and using your shoulders with the technique pretty much at this stage of your training. So keep your shoulders back nice and tight, and make sure that you're gripping the stance, you're pulling the knees in, which is going to create a nice strong base. You're pulling your navel back to your spine, you're keeping your shoulders held back so that they're tight, and that's going to encourage you and force you to punch from your elbow, and it's going to make you a lot stronger. Okay, so what I want to do now is take you through the basics on how to throw 3 chain punches effectively along the centre line. So what I want you to do is open your basic stance and place a left centreline guard forward. Okay, from this position, what I want you to do is I want you to drop the front hand down so that you're going to make a clear line forward to strike with the rear guard. So drop the front hand down and your hand is open. What I want you to do is loosely form a fist, and I want you to start throwing that fist along the centre line. Now as you do that, what I want you to do is simultaneously start to retract the front hand back to form a new rear guard structure. So it will look like this, like so. So they're your first 2 basics. Drop the front hand down, loosely form a fist, and start to throw the fist along the centre line as you simultaneously retract the front hand. Now that's a very important principle that you really need to pay attention to, because it's the backbone of controlling the space and the distance to your opponent. So you must get that down, because you're going to need it and use it when you start doing application training. Then when you've got that, what I want you to do is, as you've thrown the punch, I want you to make sure that your elbow's tucked in down, your fist is on the centre line, and it's on near full extension. What I want you to do is I want you to squeeze and contract the muscles of the arm. Then what I want you to do is relax and open the fist, where you can still keep the fist and keep it loose, but let go of any tension and just allow the punch to go soft again. Then what I want you to do is retract the front hand and then simultaneously throw another rear punch forward. Now as that punch comes forward, it's a loose fist, and then you're squeezing the air out the fist on impact, and then you're relaxing, and then you're dropping the guard back to a centerline guard position. So the technique will look like this. So the success of the movement depends greatly on your ability to relax, contract, and then relax the muscles of the arms at great speed whilst you're throwing punches along the centre line. So for your drill, for your basic introductory training, what I want you to do is I want you to throw 3 chain punches forward along the centre line. Then I want you to throw 5 punches along the centre line. Then I want you to throw 7, and then I want you to throw 9. And when you've got to 9, I want you to work your way back through 7, 5, and then 3 punches, just to complete a little circuit and just to get a little bit of exercise. In closing, chain punches is a technique that is generally used at close range. In application, it's really used to control the space and the distance to your opponent, and we do that by simultaneously retracting the front hand back as we throw the rear guard forward to maintain that distance.